Try to explain in simple terms what really the SIM-box fraud activity is all about.
Okay, the SIM-box phenomenon is, has been there for the past, let's say in Ghana, it's been there since 94, I understand. But then it's grown over the period of time that it's become very, 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 it's in its highest form since I think about from 2010. And it's simply because of a law that was passed. We'll get to that in a bit. But to help your viewers understand, I would say the SIM-box activity is a process where international calls are truncated in a country as local calls. What happens is that the reason why this happens is when the local call is cheaper, way cheaper than the foreign incoming call rates, there's a gap which in the industry we call the price arbitrage. So it creates an incentive for individuals to aid transit, international wholesale, like transit carriers, people who bring traffic into that particular country, to set up these devices so that the transit carriers would route the calls, bypass the legitimate gateway channels that mobile operators have been mandated by law to pay monies to operate, and they truncate these calls in Ghana. So I'll give a scenario. Let's say somebody is calling from, let's say, just here, let's say maybe it's Kenya, or calling from US or China or Dubai. You see the phone call coming, you see a local number, but you pick up and the person says, oh, I'm calling from outside Ghana. And it's sometimes very surprising. There are certain cases where it will be a line that is roaming, but even a roaming number, when you see it, you see the person's name, so the person can say I'm out of town and all that. So let's say somebody calls from America with an AT&T in America would receive, like, so I'm using an AT&T number in, let's say, America. So what I do is that I call my phone like I'm calling Ghana. I buy a call card and I call. AT&T would take some of the money and give the large chunk to an international transit carrier. The international transit carrier is supposed to look for the network that is operating in the destination country that this call is supposed to go and be terminated, and then they'll give the call to the operator. But what's happening right now is that this transit carriers, like I'm saying, is not regulated. Anybody at all could just operate some. Once you have minutes and you can take down to a country, some of these companies, AT&T and Verizon and others, will engage you. So what they do is that they look for VoIP service. So that particular transit carrier has a partner here. So let me use an example. Let's say you are the SIM-boxer here in Ghana. You are assisting that transit carrier. They would transmit the call through a VoIP server, what we call the VoIP server. Then the VoIP server will talk to a SIM-box. The SIM-box has various SIM cards inside. It could be any network in Ghana. And then that VoIP server will initiate a call through the SIM-box to your phone. Sorry, to whoever is being called. So it's seen as a local call because the local call is cheaper. The local call at the moment on average is about 4p, let's say 1 point something cents, or let's, for the purpose of math, let's say 2 cents. And the international incoming is 19. So the 2 cents and the 19 has created a gap of about 17 cents. So when that call comes into Ghana, because Ghana is charging 19, these SIM boxes could play within the region of, let's say, even 10, 11, 12, 9, 8. But by law, telcos or mobile operators are not supposed to come below 19 because government says it's a law, and if you come below, you are fined. So telcos are supposed to be charging 19, and it's a fixed ceiling. You can go beyond 19, but even they are not going because it will even look more unattractive. And they cannot play these SIM boxes out of the business because these guys are charging 10, 11. So I can charge 10 as a SIM boxer. And what happens is that I'll just take the 2 cents margin, then there's still 8 cents to be shared. And then your partners outside later on, so you have to make sure that you keep the your SIM box active so that your calls are routed through you, and then at the end of the month or at a particular time, they transfer, your partners outside will transfer some percentage of the money to you.
So I mean, this is something that is ongoing in Ghana now, because we know that economies and telcos are losing over $150 million a month. I mean, if these figures are right, they're losing some significant amount. But now Ghana is losing, I understand, it's about $35 million a year on this SIM-box fraud.
I totally agree with you on some of the facts that you're spelling out. It's really a big issue. It's causing a lot of economic losses. Telcos themselves are not happy. Why? Because they paid $2 million to activate or to own an international gateway license, like have your customers do IDD on your network. You pay $2 million, and every year you service that license with a $200,000. So it's very easy for sometimes people to say when they have opportunity to media to say telcos are involved because they're looking at.
But aren't they?
Telco, there's no incentive.
So how does one get their chips?
Good.
You know, because if it's not connected to your network, how can one use it?
Perfectly well, I understand. I'll come to that issue of the chip. But if you like, let's just deal with it. The issue of SIM cards being acquired is a very technical matter, but I can just make it very simple. All I like to see on that part is that telcos own SIM cards, which they give to distributors, wholesalers, and then these run through channels to get on the streets. I'm not shifting responsibility, because the sole responsibility still goes back to the principal, that's the telco.
Yes.
But we give these SIM cards to wholesalers, vendors, Ghanaians, who are supposed to sell them on our behalf
and register them.
So
that was a means to check SIM
exactly
fraud.
We all know there's been a challenge with SIM registration, and it's not due to the telco's fault. It's due to the fact that we don't have a mandatory ID system. So you tell somebody that I remember,
Derick, I currently might disagree with you.
Okay.
In the sense that,
let me explain something. A couple of years ago, about 5 years ago, let me just hit on SIM registration a bit. A couple of 5 years ago, I remember when we were talking about SIM registration, the telcos were against the regime that we had. The regime was that we didn't have a mandatory SIM card, ID card system to be able to identify the people that will register. So the things that the telcos were pushing for at that time is that let's have a mandatory registration system. Example, let's make sure that the national ID is fully finished, and then we could use that one as a mandatory. Everybody has to have one. They said we should know we can use voters ID card, we can use driver's license, we could use national health, we can use a passport. Now guess what? Any of these 4 cards, somebody in Ghana would genuinely not have one. I live in the village. I'm not traveling anywhere. I don't need a passport. I don't have money. I don't need a license. I'm enjoying my herbs. I don't need a health insurance. And the other one, the voters, I don't like politics. I'm not voting. So you can just have somebody that would just genuinely not have any of these cards, but it does not mean that the person doesn't have the right to communicate. And so I can agree with you.
Okay, right.
I can agree with you that when the registration system was going on, there were a lot of complaints from the mobile operator side. And in fact, the industry spent in excess of $40 million to do the same registration with their own money. And some of the things that I remember, some of the things that were also going on was, can we take pictures of people? So let's go get video cameras. We're willing to buy cameras. When you come, if you're Kojo and you say you are Yao, we take a picture of your face. So if there's any problem, your face goes. And if it's not your name, somebody will definitely identify you. These contributions were all shelved somewhere in the corner, and they were like, no, let's just go at it this way. So with a few months before the end of the exercise, trust me, we are Ghanaians and we are Africans. So human beings always live but do a lot of ways and means. So knowing that in 2 months' time I'll lose my SIM card, you have to compromise someone, and really the system was compromised. So I can say from where I sit as a research manager that the SIM registration system should be about 85% perfect. But we have a 15% gap that really needs some overhauling system of some of the, but then the Minister of Communications has also spoken about it and said that he's hoping that we can quickly do this exercise again some way, but it can only be done right if we have the national identification system working.
Well, interesting, but let's move on to the subject itself. I mean, the police were able to arrest some syndicate. I mean, I don't know if it's the right word to use, but these were the people that were arrested just a few days ago. And I heard that Suba applied some technology. I want to know, what technology did Suba apply to be able to, disengage the activities of these fraudsters?
Okay.
Why are you laughing?
No, let me try and help you and your viewers on that angle. There's no way, okay, I'd like to say this first on your platform, that there's no way that Suba can locate a SIM card.
But that's what we heard.
Or a SIM boxer.
That's what we heard.
Without the support of the telecom company. Okay.
So how come is credit being given to Suba that the technology that they used helped in and what kind of technology was that?
Well, on a daily basis, we have people in revenue assurance in telecom companies, people who are paid to sit down from morning to evening, and all they do is they just look out for this number is receiving a lot of calls, it's not making any call. So there's a software that these numbers run through. It runs through different layers, and when it is obvious that this number is in a SIM box, kind of is undergoing a SIM box activity, it's blocked. I know a telco that on average every month blocks as much as 10,000 SIM cards.
Let's come back to my question. How come Suba is being credited for the arrest of these fraudsters?
It's a task force. It's a task force that has been there since 5 years, and it's never had Suba. Anyway, we've done some of these name and shame public parade, bring people on set, say we've caught a bunch of people doing SIM boxing. Over the past 5 years, there's been just one successful prosecution.
So what was Suba's role in this?
Well, I understand Suba says that...
You understand? You don't know?
No, I don't know. I'm honestly, I don't know.
But you're part of the national the telco chamber of telcos, right?
Yes, I'm in the chamber, but from where I sit, I still don't know exactly what Suba did, because the little I know about this particular bust is because the little I know about it is that a particular telco, I don't want to name the telco, but a particular telco was requested to support, locate that those SIM cards, and then the arrest was made. So, like I'm saying, tied to my point, that there's a task force that has Ministry of Communications, NCA, and the telcos, and the CID office, who have been doing this thing over a period of 5 years. Telcos always come and say, no, we found this one. Because sometimes, like I'm saying, the telco is not a law enforcement agency. So every month, I'm saying one telco can even block about 10,000 SIM cards. It's one thing blocking, and it's one thing locating. So you can block them, and then they can come back again. And then it's also one thing going at them. So the task force is there, and it's been working. And I can't attribute that bust to Suba. I don't know how Suba alone was able to solve this mystery. No, that mystery can't be solved without the mobile operator and without the police going to go and do the arrest. So I don't think that one entity can take credit for this task force. It's being called a task force, so one entity cannot assume credit for it. Yeah.
Interestingly, I mean, so I'm hearing that Suba indeed is not cannot be credited solely. I guess the police also play their part, but it looks like now politically they're kind of giving Suba the credit for this. But however, let's move on. Interesting subject anyway.
Very interesting subject.
I mean, so let's move on. So how much is it costing Ghana? 35 million.
I'll put it this way. Right now, because of the price arbitrage that I mentioned earlier on, there's been bypass of traffic that is supposed to come to Ghana and run through the legitimate gateway, through the mobile operators systems, where it's very visible for everybody to see.
How much is it costing Ghana?
Well, we are saying that in terms of percentages, about 45% of traffic coming from everywhere outside Ghana into Ghana as international calls is bypassing the system. Okay, so 45%, people attribute it to $40 million, people attribute it to some amount of dollars every year and all that, but the truth is that Ghana is losing money.
So how can these operators, these fraudsters, access these funds? If the international interconnect activities is between telcos from UK to Ghana, how come these operators access these funds if they are not involved with the telcos?
I gave a scenario last time. Like I said, it's not the telco from outside that is doing the Simbox.
So how can
the
they
telco?
Access,
hang on.
How can they access their money?
I'll touch on it right now. The telco from outside. Let's say you're using, like I said, let's say you're using Vodafone in UK. You make a call from Vodafone in UK. Vodafone will give the call to a transit carrier, the people we call transit carrier. These are the people who transfer, who bring the minutes from outside into Ghana. It's not the telco. So the telco will take, let's say, some of the, if it's pounds, the telco will take some of the pounds and give it to that transit carrier, and that transit carrier would bring the traffic into Ghana. But because they are dealing with some of these individuals, so let's say they have you as their rep here in Ghana. So it's not the telco outside. It's that space is not regulated. Any individual at all can pull minutes into Ghana. And what they do is that they will deal with you. So we route the calls through your Simbox because you are agent here in Ghana. They can have as much as 20 people that they are routing calls to. And then at the end of the month, what they make, because the call is made from there, they have taken the money. Then they'll give you a percentage. So they just pay into your account.
How? So they recognize these people as what?
Because they are their agents here, that they are truncating calls at cheaper rates for them. So they are bypassing the legitimate gateway. So like, hang on, let me give you an example. Example, let's say that international company or that transit carrier company that's bringing the traffic is called, let's say Dodicom. Dodicom gives the calls to, let's say, me, and I'm routing a Simbox in Ghana. So they run the calls through my Simbox. Sometimes you see when these calls are made, you see they have CPUs and computers by it. They are able also to see here in Ghana.
So how come they don't work it through telcos? Why is it not
because it's expensive. There's a ceiling. Government has set a ceiling of 19 cents.
Okay.
And these calls, like I'm saying, it can be routed for 10, 11.
So is there a cartel operating this?
It's a cartel. Obviously, it's a cartel operating this. And it can be done without the telco, because the telco is the one that has the legitimate gateway.
United States, US have been able to solve this problem.
Well,
right? What are we doing?
Well, most of
we've got
even there's no Simbox in Nigeria.
Okay.
If this thing has been solved because most of these countries have closed the gap between their foreign and their local. Now I know the argument that is being made is that, okay, so when we reduce the 19 and we bring it to, let's say, 7 or 6,
of course
government will lose money. No, government doesn't lose money. This industry works on volumes. Now what is happening is that you see people call you from outside and they say, oh, Kwame, from me back, says here, yeah, call me back right now, because it's expensive to call. When you close, you bring down the 19, telcos, leave the telcos to compete in that space. Right now we've set 19, we've made it anti-competitive. Leave the telcos, let them come down, let them be able to price. When you price lower now, we can play these Simboxes out of the market, because these calls that are coming from outside that I'm saying are Simbox calls are run over the internet. They are not clear, they cut very easily. And it degrades the quality of the network, so that if I was using a Tigo, if the Tigo SIM card was being used for a Simbox and the call comes through that Simbox, picks the Tigo SIM card, calls you, because that Tigo number is undergoing a Simbox activity, it even degrades the network of the quality of Tigo's network within that particular area. So it's not in the interest of the telco to even engage in that distance, because you're having about 100 SIMs or 500 SIMs in a box, all picking up calls concurrently. That is not normal. It's not a normal activity. So it degrades the quality of the operator's network. That's how come the operator will not even be interested in undergoing some activity of this nature. Okay.
So calls in Ghana, as an example, the research has established that calls from the United States to Ghana has declined by 48%.
Yes,
and we sit there as a chamber. You sit there, you see this. You're not engaging government to come out with policy that will protect the investment of telecommunications companies in the country, and we sit there and then we get excited and you get this problem to escalate.
Well, nobody's excited. That's why I made the point earlier on that telcos are losing more than government. So telcos are equally concerned like government. I can tell you.
But what
for
are they
a fact,
doing about
I can
that?
tell you for a fact
Yeah.
that on my desk right now, we're running a simulation because we are supposed to engage. We've had some pre-engagements with Ministry of Communications and Ministry of Finance, and Ministry of Finance has seen the need to listen to our calls or our advocacy calls to have a look at the law again. So I can say for that, in as much as we are also doing the short-term measures right now, if you receive a call from outside Ghana and it comes as a local number, what you can do is that you can send a text to a toll-free number 419. So somebody calls me, the person says, I'm seeing a 054, 022 or 0.
I think Airtel also introduced the 919.
419.
419 number.
It's across all networks.
Okay, all right.
So if anybody gets a foreign call and it comes as a local call, just go to your text message. That number that called you, just put the number in the text message, send it to 419, and write by the number SIM-box. It will be blocked. It will be monitored and blocked within 24 hours.
Okay.
That's some of the short-term measures. But we are saying as a chamber that this is not a law and order problem, or else every other 6 months we'll have a festival, bring people at the police headquarters, say these people are engaged in SIM-box. While we are having a press conference, some other people are doing the SIM-box activity. So there's no end to this. Rather than,
you mean what they did by showcasing the fraudsters wasn't worth doing?
It's well, we were
because
even,
of course, if you even
we've been doing it for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's not stopping. There's no end to this. So that's why we're saying that it's not a name and shame business that's going to solve this. The incentive is huge. It poses, well, it's less dangerous than somebody dealing in drugs. Hiding with a machine and truncating calls, you're not seeing, there's no interface with anybody, hiding, no overheads, you're hiding in the dark, you're not paying taxes. Hey, it's profitable. I was reading a book some time back. They said an unsuccessful SIM-boxer can make not less than $2,000 in a day. Unsuccessful. And day in and day out, these SIM-boxes are getting sophisticated. I can give you an example. I have a friend in Zimbabwe. They're running a pilot in South Africa where they pick up a car, they tint these vehicles, they put the SIM-box, they charge them with Invector batteries and drive around town so they can come and park by your station, truncate about 1 hour, drive from here, move to, let's say, East Legon, do about 1 hour, truncate, move to Dodowa. You cannot arrest them because they are in motion, and you need to have the system at a stable place to be able to locate, like we did recently, and we got some people in Spintex. So the day in and day out, this thing is getting sophisticated. I can also give you certain, because of the security nature, I can't tell you into details. Somebody can roam, buy a couple of SIM cards, go and roam in Togo, and do SIM boxing in Ghana. So there's no end to this. And the issue of acquisition of SIM cards, like I said, we tried there was a scenario where some people went to a wholesaler, told a wholesaler that I'm having students from let's say US come and do a transfer, let's say some program, exchange program for like 2 weeks. Can you give us about 200 SIM cards and can it be registered? We'll pay something for it. They will give it to you because they also want to sell, so that once they sell, they can go and take something from the network operator.